And I do believe that we have rotten politics, and I'm not using that as an exaggeration.
Hey everyone and welcome. In this video we're going to be having a look at sly news and lamestream media and the blatant lie, but also we're going to be having a look at Labour and their demands to silence your ability to question. Yep, you heard that right. Labour now demand that they silence you. Now it's titled Lurgy. Labour demands emergency law to stamp out anti-vax content on social media. What that actually means is any questioning of the vaccination. Now, I'm not telling anyone to take the vaccination or not take the vaccination or anything like that. I'm just going to read through the article and let you see what you think. Now, the next part is the part where they out blatantly lie. The government, remember the government part, the government insists it has secured a major commitment from Facebook, Twitter and Google to tackle anti-vax disinformation. Anti-vaccination content should be stamped out on social media, Labour has said. With hopes rising of a lurgy jab being rolled out by the end of the year, the opposition has called for emergency legislation to stamp out dangerous anti-vax content. Who decides what's dangerous anti-vax content, Labour? Would it be you? And would that be anything that you don't agree with? Because that's what it would be, wouldn't it? The party wants the government to bring forward legislation that would include financial and criminal penalties for companies that fail to act against such content. And do you think that sort of power would be given back once everyone had took a vaccination? Would it? Hell, it'd be used for all sorts. Don't governments run on precedent? Well, that would give them the precedent to silence us for anything. Emergency measures. How dare they? Labour has claimed dedicated anti-vaccination groups with hundreds of thousands of members on social media are churning out disinformation on the issue. What happened to us being able to make our own decisions? Labour obviously think that every single one of us, you that's listening now, and me, and all of my friends and loved ones, and all of your friends and loved ones, are stupid. You're not capable of figuring out what's true and what's not if you're given all the facts. This is disgraceful. This is more removal of our freedoms. I'm not saying that the vaccination doesn't work, but you should be entitled to your rights to criticise, to question before they roll something like that out. Should you not? Shadow Culture Secretary Joe Stevens and Shadow Health Secretary Jonathan Ashworth have written to Culture Secretary Oliver Dowden insisting that, we read her, the spread of disinformation online presents a real and present danger to your power, you mean, to vaccination efforts. Ms. Stevens said the government has a pitiful track record on taking action against online platforms that are facilitating the spread of disinformation. Who decides the disinformation, Stevens? We all know the answer to that one, don't we? It has been clear for years that this is a widespread and growing problem. You don't like us knowing the facts, you see, everyone. Great enlightenment again. And the government knows because Labour has been warning them for some time. Yes, we know you've been warning for some time. This is the lowest of the low now, though. To use the lurgy to benefit you and get your opponents silenced is disgraceful, Labour. And it shows how low in honour and morals Labour truly are now. That it poses a real threat to the take-up of the vaccine. This is literally a matter of life and death, and anyone who is dissuaded from being vaccinated because of this is one person too many. Did you mark that, everybody? One person too many. So they don't want anyone to not take this vaccine. Even children, even the non-danger categories, everyone has to take this vaccine according to Labour. Are you seeing what's coming, everyone? Are we seeing what's coming? Without the ability to question it first, I think is wrong. You should be allowed to question it. Whether they like it or not, you should be allowed to question it. If there's thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people in these groups that are talking about the vaccination and whether or not to take it, that should tell them there are hundreds of thousands of people that are worried about the vaccination, and just sweeping it under the carpet by shutting people up is not going to make that worry go away. It's going to amplify it. It's going to make it worse. But Labour don't seem to understand how people operate, do they? Labour insisted the government involvement with social media platforms aimed at anti-vaccination content did not go far enough. The Shadow Secretary Cabinet Ministers said that in their letter to the Culture Secretary that what we need is action now, and since since these companies have been unable to take action themselves, we are calling on the government to introduce emergency legislation which would include financial and criminal penalties for continued failure to act. Labour would give the government good luck trying to claim money off Silicon Valley, you muppets. Labour would give the government the votes it needs to get such a bill through the House of Commons. More of the same, isn't it? Two cheeks of the same arsehole, two wings of the same bird. You see what I mean about Labour? How are these in opposition? It's like, oh, I like that idea. Can we add to it? Let's do a bit more. Let's get some power. Is that not what it feels like? Because it does to me. A government spokesman said letting vaccine disinformation spread unchecked could cost British lives. You take it first on television and then we'll watch you for 2 weeks on, say, Big Brother and see if you die. You understand what I mean by that? You should be allowed to question things that are going to be rolled out countrywide. Some people are terrified of needles. Some people are not even terrified of the vaccine. It's just how they're going to give it you. But you're not even allowed to question that with Labour.
Not just that, some people are also scared that it might be like that thalidomide.
Yeah, long-term effects.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they can't have kids, or if they do have kids, it turns out that they're going to have something wrong with them.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's a legitimate question, is it not? Should you not be allowed to ask those questions? Labour want to silence anyone that's asking a question or even giving an opinion that's against what they're telling you. Go on.
What the fuck are you hiding?
Yeah, that's why I said it's just going to amplify it, innit?
Yeah. What are they hiding?
Sweep
if
it.
They don't want us to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. If they allow this, more and more people are going to go, not going to have it.
Possibly, yeah.
You're hiding what it is. I don't know what to say on this one, everyone. The thing that got me the most as well is, throughout all of that article that I've just read out, did you actually see any comment or commitment from the government whatsoever? This whole article was headed with, the government insists it has secured major commitment from Facebook. Yeah? All the way through the argument, it's just Labour trying to force the issue. And obviously, the media, they want it as well, because they want us silenced, because they're losing the power because of us, aren't they? That's what this is. It's another push to silence people like you, me, and everybody else that don't agree with the establishment.
No one ever agrees with the establishment. I mean, everyone thinks their own, so it doesn't matter what.
Well, they do now. But anyway, guys, I'd like to know your opinion on this. I mean, like I say, I'm not telling you whether a vaccination's good or bad. I don't know, to be honest. I'm not a scientist. But I am saying we are losing our ability to question even. That should terrify you, because it does me. If you can't even question things, where do we go there? Dictatorship. That's where you go. Dictatorship. You're told what to think, told what to do. 1984 is a reality. It wasn't just a good book now. It seems to be the rules of the game.
So basically, you can't think, because if you think about the vaccine and say you don't want it, you're wrong.
Yeah, well, you can think, you just can't talk about it to anyone. And do you think if we force that sort of power into the hands of the government, they will ever give that power back?
No, you're mental.
No, they'll just translate it to something else.
Yeah.
You can't talk about this, bump, you're gone. Can't talk about that, bump, you're gone.
100%, yeah.
It's more censorship, isn't it? Cancel culture from Labour again. But anyway, let me know what you think, everyone. Do me a favour as well, if you've not done so already. Unsubscribe and resubscribe and hit that bell icon and make it on all again. I think they're messing with the subscribe, so I would like you to just give it a try. It won't take too long. Stay sane, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.